Welcome to Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. And, yeah, you can do that. Go ahead. There we go.
They've been dying to do that. They've been dying to do that.
Our friends from Southeast Mortgage are here tonight. Thank you, folks, for being here. We appreciate it. Y'all are very consistent, and it's good to see you back. And don't hesitate to be loud and proud of your Georgia Bulldogs tonight as we get ready for Kentucky this weekend. Georgia and Kentucky on Saturday at noon. 12:07 is the official kick time, so it's an early start. And Coach, you had a night game last week, and you jumped right back into the opposite direction this week. So all over the map with the start times, but that doesn't really make any difference, does it?
No, it doesn't. It better not make a difference because it's doesn't matter what time you got to play somebody. You got to be ready to play. Fortunately, they had to play. You know, they had a night game on the road, and so they're going on the road back-to-back weeks, and they go from the night game to the early game. And I always think of that as as challenging. Anytime you're playing at 12 o'clock, it can be an advantage or it can be a disadvantage, and it's all about how you handle it.
We've got some of your players in the crowd tonight. Why don't you introduce who's here?
Two good ones. We got E.G., Mr. Griffin from Savannah, Georgia. He's fired up, man. He gets to lift weights tomorrow morning at 6:30, so he said he's going to catch a nap after this and get ready to go. Then we have London Humphreys from Nashville, Tennessee.
All right. Good to see you guys hanging out with Southeast Mortgage folks tonight. And, yeah, there you go. These folks are ready. Are y'all ready? Is everybody going to be in attendance on Saturday? Yeah, here we go again. All right. Well, tell us about your week so far as you get ready for Kentucky.
It's been great. We talked Monday about having a lot of positive energy and a lot of juice, and you can't mope around. I am actually. I mean, I felt great on Monday because I knew more about our team from that game than I found out from some games. Sometimes you play teams and you don't really find out a lot. I think I found out a lot about our team in terms of the toughness, the grit, the physicality. We know what we need to work on, and we're able to work on that. And I think in this era of college football, the people who use losses and handle losses the right way grow the most. And that's what we challenged our team to do. And so far this week, they've done a great job of that. What are some of the things specifically that you feel like you learned about these guys? Mention them in there. Physicality, right? We were a really physical team. I feel like we controlled the line of scrimmage. If you'd have told me that we outrushed, that they didn't score a point in the second half, all those things, I would have felt really good, right? We didn't do great on third down and really with either side of the ball, but really poorly on defense. But the things we did well were some of the things we couldn't do well last year. And anytime you can run the football and stop the run, you're going to be in every game you play. You're going to be in every game you play unless you have a lot of turnovers, and you got to win the turnover battle, which we haven't done. But there's a lot of things I found out about our team. I know more about them coming out of the game than going into it, and that's a positive for me.
Running the football, was that one of your better efforts this season, last week?
I don't know. Tennessee was a good effort. I mean, we've run the ball well consistently. That sets up play-action pass. We got to be able to be explosive and make some plays down the field, which we're working really hard at with both, all combinations of groups. It's not just one person. It takes an entire group to do that well.
Georgia and Kentucky again coming up this weekend. Saturday at noon, 12:07 kick time, and our broadcast will start at 8 a.m. here on the Bulldogs Sports Network, so we hope you will join us this weekend for the Bulldogs and the Wildcats. 79th meeting in the series, and Georgia's had a lot of success in this series. You've had a lot of success in this series. What do you attribute that to?
Good football players. I mean, look, when we play Kentucky, it's really physical. It's been a lot of tight ball games. There's been some weird weather games. Like we've had super cold, super windy, a couple rainies. But, it's a little earlier in the year than it is other times. And they got a good football team. They got a really physical football team. Every time we've ever played them, we've done the history on it. It's a physical ball game.
So, Elijah, that weightlifting will come in handy tomorrow morning, right?
That's right.
As you get ready for Saturday's showdown. All right, it's Georgia and Kentucky. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. It's presented each week by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. We're going to step aside before we get to your questions for Coach Smart. We've got a lot of questions on social media. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart is how you get them to us, and we'll fire those at him. We'll take some audience questions as well from our friends from Southeast Mortgage here in the building tonight. Bulldogs Live will continue right after this on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Looking to elevate your game day experience? Visit UGAexperiences.com to purchase experiences like being the tee retriever for a game or getting your photo taken with UGA on the field. Experiences available now for home games, and that's UGAexperiences.com. That's the place to go. All right, Bulldogs Live brought to you each week by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. Getting to your questions for Coach Kirby Smart. We're going to take one from our audience tonight, and this is Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question.
Coach, I wanted to ask who influenced your coaching style the most?
I would probably say my father. Having grown up around a high school football coach all my life, that's all I knew from birth till I graduated high school. So he had a great influence on me in terms of the way he mentored football players, mentored my family, my siblings, but it probably had the greatest influence in terms of determining me to become a coach. Was growing up in the house with him, and he was a great role model, and I appreciate all he did for my career, and he was probably the most impactful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate the question. Let's grab one from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Trent in Jefferson, Georgia, says, Kirby, who would you rather have on your staff, Mark Stoops or Bob Stoops?
I have no idea. I wouldn't know much about the difference. I mean, I have a great relationship with Mark, so I'd have to go with him just because I've only met Bob Stoops a few times and know the legend he is. Remember when he was at Florida and was a great defensive coordinator, and that was when I was really young, but that's really all I know about Bob. But I really like Mark. Mark and I got a lot in common. We kind of came up in the coaching profession through the ranks together, and back in the day when recruiting was different, you spent time on the road. I would spend time with Mark on the road and just like him a lot.
How long have y'all known each other?
Man, I don't know. I would probably say back to 2005 or 6. I was young, up and coming, and he was defense coordinator, and he was at FSU along those years somewhere. And so probably whatever that is now, 20 years.
Trent, thanks for that question. We appreciate it. Charlie in Athens has one. How does facing good quarterbacks like UT and Bama prepare us for the rest of the season?
Well, I think it makes you better. You find out a lot about your team, yourself, when you go against a good quarterback, accurate quarterbacks. They're both very different, but they're both really good. And both those quarterbacks are playing really good football right now. When you look across the SEC, you'd be hard-pressed to find two quarterbacks playing better than those two guys were, and they both played really well against us. So I don't know if that's an indication of us or an indication of them. But as the season goes, we'll find out.
Bob in Bishop, Georgia. In your opinion, who's the best player to come out of Kentucky all time?
Man, I'm not good at that. I just don't know all time. I think back to all the golden years and when people were playing before that time, and they've had some great ones through the years. Bud Dupree was a great player that came out of there. He was from the state of Georgia. Tim Couch, obviously, was a legend that came out of there. They've had some really talented guys come out of there, defensive players particularly. But one of the best they had was last year, the big nose guard they had that's playing in the NFL. So I can't define just one, but they've had some good players.
Do you have any recall, any memories from that series when you were playing here?
Not really. It was a long time ago, and they were a really physical team even then, and they went through two different regimes. You know, I think Bill Curry was there at one time, and it was really physical. I mean, they've had different coaches. Coach Mummy was there, and it was air raid, and they threw it all around the yard. So, not a lot of memory. I remember our games being really close with them.
Do defenses like to play against an offense like that, like you mentioned, that how Mummy used to run?
I think it all depends on what kind of defensive player you are. You know, if you like covering and finesse and throwing, then you like the mummy. But if you some kids on defense like the physicality and the toughness and the flat back and hat speed and popping people that they play now.
Let's grab another question from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Les in Savannah, Georgia. How hungry is our team this week?
Well, I think they all want another chance to go out and play. As a student athlete, a player, the best thing you can do is get back on the field and play and get a bad taste out of your mouth. And you have to earn that right to do it by what you do during the week. But they're chomping at the bit to get back out there. They want to go out there and play and a chance to prove themselves and go play again. And that's the unique thing about football. You know, there's a baseball game every night. If you mess up, you can go play tomorrow night. In a basketball game, you play again every 2 nights. Football, you have to earn the right to go out and play, and it's usually 7 days.
That's what Jordan Hall was saying earlier this week. I had a chance to hear from him, and he was. He said, if he could play on Monday, he would be ready to go out and play on Monday. That's how much he wanted to get back at it. Tell us a little bit about Jordan too, and his leadership qualities. I mean, he's a terrific guy to talk to. He's really got some really strong answers.
Yeah, first of all, he's very intelligent. He carries himself the right way, and he's one of the leaders on our team because he's been through a lot of injuries and resilience. But he comes from a great home, got great parents, and he back in high school, I'll never forget watching him play. He was his own position coach. I mean, his high school was not very good, and they didn't have a lot of coaches, and you go to practice, and he ran the drills.
Really?
I was like, this guy's coaching his own position. Like, he's got the group doing what they're supposed to do. He knew drills to do, and he held people accountable and made them do the drill himself because they didn't have the staff and the capacity to have a D-line coach. And I was like, man, this guy's going to be a really good player. He's going to work really hard, and he fits our culture.
And setbacks last year, you mentioned the injuries, but he looks like he's coming back very strong from those.
Yeah, he plays really hard, and he's been a great asset for us.
This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. We're taking your questions from hashtag Ask Coach Smart on the social platforms. We'll also take some questions from our audience tonight. Our friends from Southeast Mortgage are here, and we'll step aside one more time here and take a time out, and we'll come back for more questions for the coach as the Dogs get ready for Kentucky this weekend in Athens. And we'll be back right after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back to the show. Bulldogs Live, presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And how about this coming up? Reigning ACM Artist of the Decade, Jason Aldean, and 5-time Entertainer of the Year, Luke Bryan, are teaming up to play Dooley Field at Sanford Stadium April 25th, 2026. For tickets, they're available. You can head on over to GeorgiaDogs.com. Live Between the Hedges concert series presented by Pruitt Health, and we'll see you there. That was an exciting announcement last week to get those guys back on board, and something great in right after spring practice next year, Coach. April 25th, 2026 is when that concert will be happening. We're taking your questions for the coach. Hashtag Ask Coach Smart on social media platforms. And from our audience tonight, our friends from Southeast Mortgage are here, and we've got a question from Hunter. Hi, Hunter. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question for the coach.
If you could give one piece of advice to a kid who wants to play at Georgia, what would it be?
That's a hard question, Hunter. Grow, eat your vegetables. No, I'm just kidding. Work really hard. That's the number one thing for the guys that are here. Most of them are blessed with some talent, but they're really hard working, and they overcame a lot of obstacles, and they became better by being around good people and working really hard. So how old are you again? 8, you said? Mm-hmm. 8 years old. So you can start by eating all the green stuff on your plate, okay? And if you do 25 push-ups every night before you go to bed, you'll be a lot closer, okay? Go Dogs.
All right, Hunter, thanks a lot. Let's grab a question from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Sammy in Atlanta wants to know what you hope to see from our pass rush this week and
sacks
for the rest of the year.
I want to see some sacks. That's what I want to see. First of all, you got to get an opportunity. You got to put yourself in a situation to be able to rush the passer. And Kentucky does a great job, a really good job of avoiding third and longs. So, when you get in these either-or down distances, third and 1, 2, 3, you can't rush the passer. You got to play run or pass. You don't get to pin your ears back. You always say you earn the right to rush the passer. You can't rush the passer until you get somebody in obvious passing situations, which we were able to do some last week, and we didn't have a lot of success getting home or covering them. So this week it's get them in the situation and then pin your ears back and go rush the quarterback. And we got to do a better job covering, but we got to do a better job rushing. Those two actually work together. Our history here has been we've been a probably better cover team than rush team, and you got to use those two together.
We've seen some quarterbacks too that fully capable of getting rid of the football in a short amount of time. It doesn't stay in the pocket very long. It doesn't stay in their hands very long.
Yeah, and they can't do that if it's third and long. Because the routes have to climb. So if you can get them in 3rd and 7 or more, you're going to have time. They got to hold the ball. It's when they're shorter, and we didn't get a good look Tennessee because there was not a lot of third downs.
Sammy, thanks for that question. Let's see, Chad in Duluth, Georgia. Do you think Gunner is becoming better at knowing when to hang in the pocket and when to take off?
Yeah, I think it's an instinctive thing. It's something that every quarterback has, and they grow in, and you can practice it thousands of times, which most quarterbacks do. But game experience really helps you with that. When do I hang in the pocket? When do I take off? When do I scramble to throw? Keeping your eyes downfield. And we've had a lot of opportunities where he scrambled and keeping his eyes downfield to find a guy that's open. We work scramble drill and talk about it a lot because there's probably 10 to 15% of your plays that are off schedule. It didn't happen like it was supposed to. Somebody got in there or something broke down. It's not going to be perfect. What do you do on the non-perfect plays? And the best quarterbacks that are really good athletes, they turn those into explosives. We had one against Tennessee where we got great rush. We're about to get him, he breaks out of there, and he throws a 20-yard completion on cover 2, and it's like, man, that's frustrating. And then Ty Simpson, we almost get down, we chase him, he breaks out of the pocket, he throws a completion to Ryan Williams over the middle. That hurts you, that demoralizes the defense when they get pressure and they get out of there. We need some of those too. We need some of those opportunities where he scrambles around and fires one downfield and it becomes an explosive.
As far as running quarterbacks go, or guys who have that ability to do that, how does Gunner rate in your opinion?
I don't know. It's not one of those things that I think you can measure. It's one of those things that have to happen. And early in the season, but we've seen him in scrimmages. We've seen him in a lot of our practices where he scrambles around and makes a play and throws the ball downfield. Most of his scrambles, to me, this year have become runs, right? He's run to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, or he's run and converted a first down. But you want to be a weapon with your arm when you're scrambling too, and that's one of the things we hope to continue to work on.
Sammy, thanks for that question. Sean in Conyers, Georgia has one. How much growth do you see in our young players, particularly our offensive line and the secondary?
Well, I see a lot of growth. When you've got 2 freshmen playing significant amount of playing time on your offensive line, that's new for us. My 10 years here, we've had 1, and now we have 2 at once. So it's a little different. And then secondary, most of them are second-year, third-year players, not necessarily first-year players, but they're growing up, they're getting better, they're competing. That's the life of the SEC. It's what you're going to have. You're going to have guys that got to go out and play and compete.
Do you have to be patient as a coach to watch that growth, or is that not really a characteristic that coaches have time for?
Well, you have to be understanding. I don't have patience for people that don't know what to do, right? You got to learn your assignment. We're not asking them to do something they haven't done. We've had a lot of practices. We've had a lot of walkthroughs. So if they're out on the field, they should understand what to do. But what's hard is the reaction time. Juan might see something for the first time. Donnie might see something for the first time in a game that we can't give them that look. With the multitude of looks they can get, they may never have seen it. And an experienced player has seen that before, reacted to it. But they're the best guys, and we're trying to put the best guys on the field that give us a chance to win.
All right, Chad and Sean and Sammy, thanks for those questions. You could send them in anytime. #AskCoachSmart on the social media platforms, and we could use yours here on the show. We'll take some more questions from our audience as well, and we'll step aside for just a moment, take another time out, and back for more with Coach Kirby Smart as we continue on Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back to the show, Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart, presented each week by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And dog fans, be sure to check out the G-Shop at georgiadogs.com for exclusive releases of Nike Game Day official apparel, just like the coaches wear. You can visit georgiadogs.com and the G-Shop today. Georgia and Kentucky coming up this weekend. That's a 12 o'clock game. Official kick time is 12:07 on Saturday. Our coverage begins at 8 a.m. Saturday morning right here on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Hope you can be with us. And let's grab another question for Coach Kirby Smart. This is from Carla in our audience. Our friends from Southeast Mortgage are here. And Carla, it's your big moment. Step up to the plate and fire away.
Coach, last week's game really was kind of like a Super Bowl as far as a lot of the guests that you guys had there. But how was it seeing Anthony Edwards back on campus and supporting the team?
That was my favorite part. I mean, I got to see him before the game and ran over, and I'd met him when he was here as a player, and he'd come to our practices and watch, and he was really good friends with Richard LeCount, and he was a character, man. He was so much fun to be around and so much energy, and then to see him out there, it was like surreal to watch what he's done in basketball. And I went over and spoke to him a few minutes, and he told me he was pulling for us, and obviously we didn't pull it out. But man, I tell him all the time, he's like one of my favorite players. I love watching him play.
I agree.
Yeah.
Carla, thank you. She said that question was from her son Jordan tonight. And Jordan's not with us, but Carla used his question tonight. So thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Carla. Let's grab one from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. This is from Randy from Lithonia, Georgia. How can we start fast this week and jump on Kentucky?
You telling me? I would love to start fast. It's one of those things that it's interesting because we talked all off season about offensively the second half, the opening drive of the second half, how many struggles we had, and then we've come out in the second half this year just doing great on offense, moving the ball, doing good things, but then defensively we struggled starting games and giving up some conversions and big plays, and we're going to try some new things, try some different things to maybe start better, start faster, and let the guys go out there and play. That's the hope. We got to keep searching and looking, because I really do believe in this team and the things we're good at. We really harped on. I mean, stopping the run and running the ball and doing some of the things we've done really well. But we've done some other things that haven't been indicative of our teams in the past, and we just got to clean them up and put it together. That's what we're looking to do this weekend.
Randy, thanks for that question. That's our look ahead. It's brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. The penalty for getting a DUI can cost up to $10,000, and that's why the Governor's Office of Highway Safety says drive sober so you won't get pulled over. Let's grab one more from our social media questions. Luke in Sandy Springs, Georgia. What is one key stat you're hoping to improve on this week against the Wildcats?
I mean, there's so many. The stat we always go by is who has more explosive plays. And crazy enough, we won the explosive battle last week. Okay, and then the next stat we look at is the turnover battle. We lost the turnover battle, and I would love to win both those. I want to win the explosive battle and win the turnover battle. That's before about a million other things I want, like third down, red zone, and all the others. But those are areas that we target.
Tell us about the turnover thing. What kind of drills do you do to learn how to take the ball away, on the defensive side?
There's a million. I mean, we study really analytics on that, on whether the tackle's more important or the ball. We've changed this week and started doing a turnover circuit before practice, and dedicated some of the time we used to walk through to being intentional about it. Where do you hit the ball exactly? We call it the belly of the ball. Do you use a peanut punch? Do you hammer punch? Do you rake? Do you strip? I mean, they've named every mechanism to get a ball off somebody, and we're trying to really slow it down and teach it and be intentional. And the great thing is we've seen production in that in practice. So we're getting return on investment in practice of what we've done to change to try to get more of them, because you have to force turnovers nowadays. That's like the thing. Offenses are more elaborate. They've got more options. They move up and down the field. They're more explosive than ever. But if you can create turnovers, those are huge stops, and we got to do a better job of that.
there was a turnover last week in Kentucky's game with South Carolina on their quarterback. He was being sacked, and if you watch the play, he's covering the ball with both arms, yet when they twist him around, it still, they lodge it loose somehow, and they ended up getting I think it was the scoop and score play that they had last week.
Scoop and score, and then they got a tip ball, pick six. I mean, it's just, we always say they come in bunches, and they did for South Carolina. They scored on defense back to back.
Brent in Athens, how pleased are you with our running game and the emergence of Chauncey Bowens?
Well, I'm proud of Chauncey. He's worked really hard. He's not one that's ever complained or worried about his opportunities. Every time I talk to him, he's like, Coach, I just want to win for Georgia. I just want to do what's best for Georgia. I just want to contribute to the team. And he's done just that. He's worked himself into becoming a really quality player. He had the most broken tackles in fall camp. He was number one, and number two was Zach Branch, and number three was Cash. So when you start talking about who breaks tackles, that's where you want your touches to go, and Chauncey's done a good job of being physical, running through arm tackles and making people miss.
How does that make you feel when you hear guys say that? I just want to win for Georgia. I just want to win for the team.
It's who you want to coach. When you talk about this world of NIL and me, and all this kid has said is, hey, I just want to win. I just want to be part of this program. I want to help contribute, and he has been so unselfish, and I hope he continues to grow that way.
Had a really nice game last week against Alabama, over 100 yards rushing. Brent, thanks for that question. We appreciate it. And we'll get some more questions for Coach here. We've got a couple more segments with Coach Smart before we turn it over to the Bulldogs All-Stars at the top of the hour. So stay with us. We'll step aside for just a moment, come back for more Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart right after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Back here with Coach Kirby Smart. Bulldogs Live is presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And Georgia fans, if you want to do an NIL deal with a dog, go to georgiadogs.com/NIL to connect with a student athlete on a sponsorship, a commercial, an appearance, an autograph session, and more. You can do that by going to georgiadogs.com/NIL. That's the place to go. Georgia and Kentucky this weekend at 12 o'clock, 12:07 official kick time, 8 o'clock air time for our coverage here on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Taking your questions tonight for Coach Smart, and we've got another question from our audience. Our friends from Southeast Mortgage are here tonight. They've been a great audience. And this is Amber. Hi, Amber. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question for Coach.
I'm going to change the subject for just a second.
All right.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, man. I got lots of them. Probably The Natural. I like Robert Redford, and I like baseball.
Okay.
Hoosiers. I'm a traditionalist. I like feel-good movies. I like... what's the one about the boxer that
Russell Crowe?
No, yeah, I think it is. What's it called?
Cinderella Man?
Cinderella Man. How'd you know that? That's a good pick.
I love movies.
Of all the boxing movies, you picked that one out. That's the exact one I was thinking of.
It's a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amber. Appreciate your question. Let's see. John Michael in Atlanta says Kentucky looked like they ran the ball pretty well against South Carolina. How do we slow their ground game?
Well, we gotta strike people, knock them back, control the line of scrimmage, and get off blocks. I mean, it's funny because it's a simple theory, but it's hard to do. You need good sound gap fits. You must strike people. They block on the second level as good as anybody we played. They're really physical, but they're stubborn, right? Like you stop their run one time, they're not going to stop running. They're going to continue to run and run and run and run, and they shrink the game. Like they know who they are and they're comfortable in who they are. And if you have less snaps against them, then that's just it puts pressure because the game is shorter, and they do a really good job of that.
When you play these guys, do you feel like they offer many surprises on offense, or you kind of feel like you know what they're going to do? You just have to stop it.
There's no game that you know what they're going to do. I mean, every team has wrinkles, right? They have plays they run. They have different formations they do them out of. They have different motions and window dressing. So there's never we know what they're going to do. I mean, any coach that tells you that is just lying. You don't ever know what they're going to do. And you got to adjust to what they do, and you got to have an answer for it.
Another question from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Walker in LaGrange, Georgia. How do you prepare for Kentucky quarterback Cutter Boley when there's, as Walker says, there's not much film of him?
Well, I mean, he played this year, and he started, and he played last year. So, I mean, there's more film than we have on most quarterbacks that are in the first year. So we've got a little history on him and seen him play. It's probably more of a either quarterback could play. Zach Calzada could play, and we might get either one of them, and we got to be prepared for both.
Yeah, he's been battling an injury, but I saw in the availability report this week that he's listed as probable. So there might be that possibility, as you just pointed out.
That's right.
Jacob in Hartwell, Georgia. What are the pros and cons about an early noon kickoff?
Pros are you're done earlier, right? You get up, you go play. You don't have to sit around and wait all day, and you know you different things you think about, different things you watch, whatever anxiety gets in your head. You wake up, you eat, you go play. That's a good thing. Being awake and being ready to play is the big adjustment, and we try to normalize those times for our players by scheduling things during the week to make sure that we're up and ready to go. And you know, both teams are playing at the same time, so it's not like it's an advantage for somebody. It's all about how you view it and how you perceive it, and the way you kind of address it as a team. And I think our team will handle it the right way.
London had an interesting answer to that question earlier in the week. What did you call it, London?
Yeah.
The donut. Have you heard that before?
Yeah,
The donut game?
Donut game, because you're going to wake up and eat donuts right before you go play.
That's right. Just get up, grab something to eat, and go. Right.
That's right.
That's kind of it. What does your day look like for a noon star? What is how much recruiting time are you able to spend, or is that on the backside?
Yeah, it's the backside of it. We flip it around, and guys get here early, but most of them don't hear that early. They had late Friday night games, so they're driving in, and we'll get up at the hotel by 7:15, 7:30. Pregame meal at 8. We'll walk through by probably 9:15. Get to the stadium around 10, and then rock and roll at 12.
All right. Georgia and Kentucky, that's the rock and roll event of the weekend in Athens, Sanford Stadium at noon or shortly thereafter for the kick, 12:07 on Saturday afternoon. And we'll take one last time out and one more segment with Coach Smart when we come back. This is Bulldogs Live with the coach on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Here with Coach Kirby Smart, Bulldogs Live, presented each week by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And we've got another question from our audience and a repeat questioner. This is Hunter again. Hunter, you got another question for the coach.
Who was your favorite coach that ever coached Georgia?
Oh, man, who was my favorite coach that ever coached Georgia? Man, that's a hard one because I played for two coaches. So I played for Coach Goff and Coach Donnan. So both of them would have to be my favorites. But I grew up watching Coach Dooley, and Coach Dooley was like the legend. You ever heard of Coach Dooley? You have? How about that? So you know him. So it would say a three-way tie for all those guys. Then I came and coached for Coach Richt. So I got to coach on his staff. So I have four favorites. Thank you.
Hunter, thanks for that question again. We appreciate it.
Get him, Hunter.
Annalise from Macon, Georgia, has one from the social platforms. She says, what jumps off the tape about this Kentucky team?
I would say the toughness and the physicality they play with. I mean, they're striking blocks, they're hitting people. They run to the ball really well on defense, and offensive line is like a lot of a gap scheme. They pull people, double team people, they move people. And when you do that, you move someone against their will in football, there's respect in that. I mean, that's not something easy to do. To take someone from point A to point B against their will is something hard to do.
A little less than a minute to go. What are you expecting from your guys this weekend? Another SEC matchup along the lines of what you were just saying. A lot of physicality, I guess.
I want to see fire, passion, and energy. I want to see this team go out, compete super hard, play with love and passion for each other, and keep growing and getting better. I want to see growth. All the things we said we were going to double down on this week, let's see if the double down paid off. Let's see if the work we put in and the intentionality of what we did works out. Let's see if we see those turnovers. Let's see if we can be explosive and do a better job in some of the areas we haven't.
And any final quick thoughts on our friends from Southeast Mortgage here?
They're going to be loud and proud. I know that. They're not shy. That's right. Thank y'all. They've been great tonight. Go Dogs.